Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Guys, please all of you respond to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Am I audible, guys? Guys, please respond to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Everybody, please respond to me, guys. All right, sir. And check it. What we completed in the last session. I think so. One simple. Last class I given some introduction part for advanced Java. All right. Anyway, then today we are going to start our content effectively. So in advanced Java, mainly the topics are what topics here we are having inside this advanced Java. Mainly 6 topics are available. What are the 6 topics inside this advanced Java? Right, you can understand that very first one is prerequisite part. Here we have to understand after completion of this prerequisite. Next one is JDBC, servlets, JSP, JSTL, and expression language. JDBC is the first topic in advanced Java, and prerequisite is because of you only I'm starting. Understand my point now? This is not in our actual schedule, but I don't know how much you are aware about the core Java concepts to start JDBC classes. Because of that reason, I'm taking this prerequisite part here. Don't count this duration of this prerequisites in our actual duration of the Java. But of course, in Durgasoft, no particular meaning for durations of the courses. No. Yes, sir? Do you think about still durations are important? Yeah, that's very good. Have the same mindset until the end of the courses. Listen carefully. Concepts are important. And now see this in the prerequisite part also. In the prerequisite part also, what topics here we require there? I think so. All of you might be aware about classes, abstract classes, and interfaces at minimal level. No need to have any discussion over these 3 concepts. Why? Because even still, if you are not aware about these 3 topics, no, not eligible to attend for advanced Java classes. It's the minimum of the minimum concepts what we require to start advanced Java. This is eligibility to attend these advanced Java classes. From the next point onwards, next concepts onwards, I will take the responsibility. I will take care about it. But if you want to understand, at least from static keyword, you must aware about the first 3 topics: class, abstract class, and what next one? Interfaces. Got it or not? All right, sir. Now, let us start the concepts like what there static keyword. I think some of you already aware, but some of you are not aware. I don't know what is your status here, but I'm giving the basics, complete basics only. I don't require too much internal concepts of these concepts here. Just basics of the static keyword is sufficient to move on to what there JDBC. Understand it. What basics here we require. First of all, static keyword. What is the purpose of the static keyword? Understand it clearly. The main purpose of the static keyword, the main purpose of the static keyword is to provide shareability in Java applications, is to improve shareability in Java applications. That's the main intention of the static keyword. How it is shareable, we will understand in the future. When I'm going to talk about static variable, there we are going to understand the point here. But the main intention of the static keyword is what there? To improve shareability. Leave this point. Next one, in how many ways we are able to utilize this static keyword? All right, there are 3 ways to utilize static keyword. There are 3 ways to utilize static keyword. What are the 3 ways? Actually 4 ways are available, but 4th way is not required at present. In core Java classes, we will discuss about that 4th way also, but here it is not required. Only 3 ways. What are the three ways of utilizing the static keywords? Right, the very first one is static variables. The first one is what there? Static variables. Second one is what there? Static methods. And the third one is what there? Static blocks. Static blocks. These three approaches we require is mandatory to understand JDBC classes. If you are not having knowledge on these three concepts, no, not possible to understand JDBC, even that introduction classes. If you want to see the JDBC very startup classes, definitely we have to know about what are these three concepts. Right, let us understand one by one, one by one. Observe careful. The first one is what? Very first one is what there? Static variables. The very first one is what there? Static variables. Understand it clearly? What are the various points, important points about the static variables? All right, sir. The very first point here I'm telling you, observe carefully. Static variable is a Java variable. Static variable is a Java variable. All right, sir. It will be recognized and initialized. It will be recognized and initialized at the time of loading. At the time of loading, the respective class bytecode to the memory. At the time of loading, the respective class bytecode loading. At the time of loading, the respective class bytecode. At the time of loading, the respective class bytecode. Right, sir. Whenever the class bytecode is loading, by the time only static variables are recognized and initialized. Remember this point. Static variables are not waited to get its initialization up after creating the object. It will be recognized and initialized at the time of loading the class bytecode to the memory only. Not required to wait until the object creation. It will be recognized and initialized before object creation at the time of loading the respective class bytecode only. Remember this point. I'll show practically. Don't worry for it. This is one point. Second one, this point is important about the static variables, especially this point. On the basis of this point only, we are going to get some clarity how static keyword is providing shareability. How static keyword is providing shareability through this point only, we are going to understand. All right, sir. The last modified values of the static variables, the last modified value, what's the meaning of it? No, latest value of the static variable. The last modified value in the sense latest value of the static variable. The last modified values of the static variables will be shared to the previous objects and to the future objects of the same class. Please read out the statement what I have given there. The last modified value, that means the latest value of the static variable will be shared to the previous objects which you have already created. And to the future objects which we are going to create. Which we are going to create of the same class. Okay, for example, class A is available. For a class A, 5 objects already created. Okay, where static variable is available. On the static variable, I performed a modification after creating 5 objects. That single static variable modification is available to all the previous objects which you have created. Next, I'm going to create 5 more objects. The latest value of the static variable, the last modified value of the static variable will be shared to the future objects also, if you are going to create that future objects. All of you get my point or not? So this is exactly the meaning of like what there, static variable, how it is able to provide shareability for its content. Understand the point here, what I am telling you know? This is the meaning of like what the shareability, how it is providing clearly. Got it or not? Just 1 minute. Right, sir. So by this here we can understand like what there static variable and its a shareability. The last modified value of the static variables will be shared to the previous objects which you have already created and to the future objects which you are going to create of the same class, which you are going to create for the same class. That's it. All right, sir. Next one is after that. How can we access the static variables in Java applications? There are two ways to access the static variables. What are the two ways now? One is by using reference variable of the respective class, and second one is by using class name directly. Understand my point here? There are two ways to access static variables. What are the two ways to access static variables? First one is by using the respective class reference variable, and the second one is what there by using the respective class name directly. By using the respective class name directly. Understand it clearly. By using the respective class reference variable and by using the respective class name directly. Good. Observe carefully. Another point here, fourth point, important point here. We have to understand it now. Listen carefully. If we access an instance variable by using a reference variable that contains null value, then JVM will raise an exception like java.lang.null pointer exception. That's it, java.lang.null pointer exception. Please read out this point here, what I have given. If you access an instance variable by using a reference variable that contains null value, then JVM will raise an exception. That exception is what there? Java.lang.null pointer exception. This is about what variable I have given there? Instance variable. Please remember this, but I have not discussed about static variable now. I have not given this point on the basis of static variable. I have given this point on the basis of what? Instance variable. Now I'm talking about the static variable. Right, observe carefully. If we access a static variable by using a reference variable that contains a null value, then JVM, in the case of instance variable, JVM will raise an exception like what? Java.lang.null pointer exception. But now in the case of static variable, then JVM will not raise any exception. Will not raise any exception like what there? Java.lang.null pointer exception. Sure, definitely. I'll show each and every point in practical. What are the points here I'm discussing now? But we have to understand all these points now. Come again, what's the point I said to you? If we access an instance variable by using a reference variable that contains null value, then JVM will raise an exception like java.lang.null pointer exception. If we access a static variable by using a reference variable that contains null value, then JVM will not raise any exception like java.lang.null pointer exception. Got it or not? Okay, fine. Next one, where we are going to declare these static variables in general, where we are able to provide the static variables in general in Java applications. Always static variables must be declared as a class level variables only. Class level variables only. Not possible to declare as a local variable. Not possible to declare as a local variable. If we declare, come on now, tell me, if we declare a static variable as a local variable, then the compiler will raise an error. All of you get my point here? In Java applications, always static variables must be declared as a class level variables only. Not possible to declare as a local variable. If we declare a static variable as a local variable, then the compiler will raise an error. Yes, sir. Got it or not? All right, sir. So these are the various points here we can understand. Then one more small point here about this accessibility. Here I'm telling to you another point. There are two ways to access the static variables. by using the respective class reference variable, by using the respective class name directly. And another point here I'm telling there, all right sir, if it is the if the variable if the static variable is the current class wherever, if the current class variable, then it is not required to use any reference variable and class name, any reference variable and class name. Okay, directly we can access the current class variables, current class static variables, or by using what keyword here? No, this keyword. Or by using this keyword we are able to access this keyword, we are able to access current class variables, of course. Even though the variable is a static variable, still we can access it by using this keyword in the current class. And outside of the current class, no, either we can use reference variable or we can use what their class name. Inside the same class, no keyword, no reference variable, or by using what keyword? No, this keyword. These are the accessibility here we have to understand clearly. Got it or not? All right, sir. Good. That's okay. Fine. Shall we go for the system now? Shall we go for the system here? Right, just 1 minute. I want to remind all the points what we discussed here. Now try to check it. What is a static variable? What is the basic nature of the static variable? Now tell me. Static variable is a Java variable. It will be recognized and initialized at the time of loading the respective class bytecode to the memory. Second point is what there? The last modified values of the static variables will be shared to the previous objects which we have already created, and to the future objects which we are going to create to the same class, Okay, fine. There are three ways to access static variables. What are the three ways here? No, by using respective class reference variable, by using the respective class name directly, and if the static variable is a current class variable, then it is not required to use any reference variable and any class name. Directly we can access the current class static variables by using this keyword, and we are able to access that current what's it directly we can access the current class static variable directly we can access the current class static variable, or by using this keyword, that's okay, or by using this keyword, no need to use this particular point here, or by using what there, this keyword, if the variable is what there, current class static variable. If we access an instance variable by using a reference variable that contains null value, then JVM will raise an exception like java.lang.null pointer exception. But if we access a static variable by using a reference variable that contains null value, then JVM will not raise an exception like what? Java.lang.null pointer exception. In Java applications, always static variables must be declared as class level variables only. Not possible to declare as what their local variable. If we declare a static variable as a local variable, then the compiler will raise an error. Right, so these are the basic, very basic points about like what their static variables. Let's see some examples. On the base of this, just I want to go for some examples. Try to observe carefully. All right, sir. Switch, workspace, something else like what there, advanced Java. I think so. Here we provide it. Now let me use this. All right, sir. So of course, in the case of the static keyword, static variables, we have a question. One important interview question is available. What are the various differences between static variables and instance variables? That question is very important. So that you have to take the responsibility. In our core Java classes, anyway, I'm going to discuss about that question. Then I'm going to show some programmatic view. Understand my point here? Some practical, that means some diagrammatic view also I'm going to provide. But up to that level is not required for our advanced Java. Mainly in advanced Java, what concepts are required here? Mainly in advanced Java, the topics what we required is how we are going to access the static variable. There everybody must aware about it. We can access the static variables by using class name instead of using what their reference variable. Of course, we can access that static variable by using reference variable also. I think I have not covered that point. Now observe carefully, by using reference variable, by using what their class name. Now observe carefully. One note I am telling there. In Java applications, always it is suggestible or it is recommended, always it is suggestible to access the static variables by using class name, by using what their class name, not by using class name. Always it is suggestible, always it is suggestible to access the static variables by using what their class name, right sir, not by using what their reference variable. See, two ways, reference variable and class name. What is suggestible? Class name is suggestible when compared with what their reference variable, right sir. It's okay. Now let's understand this point here. Yeah. So we are very much fast, but system is not fast. One minute. Okay, now we are getting it. Right, sir. Is this is screen is okay now? Is it visible to all of you? Okay. Right, sir. Now then try to have some alternative. That is, to whom it is visible, just we can sit here. To whom it is not visible, just we can come this side now. Just have some space here. Or else maybe at back side, not suggestible. Yeah. Right, sir. You have to sacrifice because of your sisters only. Come this side. Okay. Right, sir. Now observe carefully. So now the same program I am providing, try to understand it now. One by one, all the points I am going to discuss with you. Observe carefully. First one is what? What is that very first one here? Static variable is a Java variable. It will be recognized and initialized at the time of loading the respective class bytecode to the memory. Alright, sir. At the time of loading class bytecode only, not at the time of creating object. Before creating object only. Right. Further purpose, what I am telling to you. For example, I will take a class A. I will take a class A. Inside this class K, I am going to take a constructor. This is a constructor. Tell me, sir, at what time this constructor will be executed? At the time of creating object only. After loading class bytes go to the memory, at the time of creating object only, this problem. That means this constructor is going to be executed. So what I'm telling there, I want to write acon, for example. After that, I want to provide static int I is equal to m1 method here I called. Observe carefully. I variable is what variable here? No, a static variable. I variable is a static variable. There we are calling what method here? M1 method here we are calling. Got it or not? Okay, fine. After this, after completion of this, now here we are providing static int m1 method. What is this method here? No, static int m1 method. There I'm going to provide system.out println of m1a. Here we are getting it. There I need to return the value. 10 is a value here we are getting. 10 is a value here we are getting. Understand it clearly. Okay. 1 minute. Oh, sorry, yaar. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Yeah, it's okay. The right, sir. Now understand it, no? So static int I is equal to m1 method here we called. When the static variable is recognized and initialized, automatically this m1 method will be executed. By the execution of this m1 method, we are able to get the output is what there? M1a. Return 10 value, the 10 value will be assigned to I variable. So at the time of initializing, recognizing and initializing static variable, this method is going to be executed. But here the question is what? The static variable is going to be recognized and initialized. Is that before executing constructor or after executing constructor? That's the point here. Before executing constructor only. Why? Because constructor will be executed at the time of creating object only. Because of that reason, we have to expect the M1A output before getting output is what? Acon. Right, sir. Then after this, now inside this main class and main method, here what we provided here, a small a is equal to new a. Just we created object for the class here. A small a is equal to new a constructor. We created object for the class here. Then after this, now Let me check this one. Let me execute this program here. Now what is output here? We are getting M1A. Then what next one? Acon. It means that before executing constructor, that M1A output we are getting or not. That means what is the meaning of it? No, the meaning is what? At the time of loading the class byte code to the memory, static variable is recognized and initialized. Part of the initialization M1 method call is identified. Because of this M1 method call, the static method is executed. Because of that reason, we are getting output is what there? M1A. Clear? All of you are getting clarity? No confusion. Only the point is what? Static variable is recognized and initialized before creating object. Means that before executing the constructor. While initialization of the static variable, static method call is identified. So this method will be executed. By executing this method only, we are getting output is what there? M1A. Output here we are getting. Sir, got it or not? Right, sir. This is one simple example here I'm telling you. Try to understand it clearly. This is one point. Okay, fine. Example one for this particular one. All right. Output also here we are getting like what there? What is output here we are getting there? We can understand these two variables. All right. Next one is after this. Now tell me what is the next point here I discussed with you clearly? The last modified values of the static variables will be shared to the previous objects which you have already created and to the future objects which you are going to create to the same class. Now I'll write a small program. Try to understand this program on the basis of this. The shareability easily we can identify clearly. All right, now let us check this point here. For example, I want to take two variables inside the class K. What are the two variables here I'm going to take now? One is instance variable. Int I is equal to what variable now? Instance variable. Static int I is equal to 10. Static int j is equal to 10. Two variables, I variable and j variable. Got it or not? Okay, fine. And let me complete one more point here after this. By that I'm able to give this point effectively. Static variables data will be stored in the method area. Static variables data will be stored in which area? Method area, not in heap memory. But it is somewhat related with heap memory. How it is, I'll give the information to you. Don't worry. See this one, all of you know. Int I is equal to 10, static int j is equal to 10. Both I have taken 10 and 10. Now observe carefully. A1 is equal to new A. Now here I want to display system.out.println of a1.I plus a space plus a1.j. a1.I plus a space plus a1.j. The data we are getting it. Yes, sir, got it or not? Next one is a1.I is equal to a1.I plus 1 semicolon. a1.j is equal to a1.j plus 1. These two things here we provided. That means I'm performing updations on the object. Then after this, what I'm going to do there? System.out.println of a1.I plus space plus a1.j. a1.I space a1.j. Up to now it's okay, fine. First of all, I created object for class A, both static variable and normal instance variable and static variable, both are accessed. 10 and 10 is a value here we are getting. Next one is a1.I space a1.I is equal to a1.I plus 1, a1.j is equal to a1.j plus 1 we provided. Next one is what there? System.out.println of a1.I space a1.j, that value is here we provided now. Right, quick, come this side now. Right, sir. The next one is what? After completion of this, then what I'm trying to do here, I want to create another object. A2 is equal to new A object here I'm creating. A2 is equal to new A object here I'm creating. All of you understand it clearly. A2 is equal to new A. Now second object here we created. When we are trying to create the second object, observe carefully. I'm trying to create second object for class A. When we are trying to create second object here, what we are doing there? System.out.println of I want to check latest value, last modified value of the static variable is available in the next or new object or not. That I want to check. Last modified value of the static variable is available to the new object or not. That I want to check now. For this particular purpose, now what I'm trying to do there, a2 is equal to new a constructor, then system dot out dot println of a2 dot I plus space. I'm providing like what there, a2 dot j, a2 dot I space a2 dot j, that I provided clearly. When I give in a2 dot I is space a2 dot j, I'm able to check the latest value of the static variable is available to the new object or not. Already we have done modification on what there, a1. That modified modification is available to the a2 referred object or not, that we are checking now clearly. Okay, fine. After completion of this, what I'm trying to do now, a2 dot I is equal to a2 dot I plus 1, again a2 dot j is equal to a2 dot j plus 1. Now here we are providing a2 dot I is equal to a2 dot I plus 1, a2 dot j is equal to a2 dot j plus 1. The values here we are getting. That means on a2 object we are trying to perform modifications. On a2 referred object we are trying to perform what there, modifications. But my requirement is what there, what I want to check now. On a2 we are performing modification of static variable. Is this modification is available to the previous object or not? As per the rule, that latest value of the static variable must be shared to the previous objects as well as to the future objects. Now on A2 object, we performed a modification on static variable. Is this modification is applied to the previous object or not? That we have to check now. Right, because of that reason here, what I'm going to do there, system dot out dot println of a1 dot I plus space a1 dot j, that I'm providing. Next one is system dot out dot println of a2 dot I plus space plus a2 dot j, that I provided. Understand it clearly? Then after this, another point here I'm telling to you, a3 is equal to new a. Overall static variable is getting modified 2 times. At 2 times we are modifying the static variable. The second modified data is available with the a3 object or not, that I want to check. The second modified data is available with the a3 object or not, that I want to check clearly. Right, sir? All of you understand it clearly, whether it is modified, whether it is available or not. So okay, what I am going to do there, system dot out dot println of a3 dot I plus space a3 dot j, that I want to provide. System dot out dot println of a3 dot I plus space a3 dot j, the data here I need to provide clearly. Right, after this, now what I want to do there, a3 dot I is equal to a3 dot I plus 1, a3 dot j is equal to a3 dot j plus 1. These two data here we have to provide. a3 dot I is equal to a3 dot I plus 1, a3 dot j is equal to a3 dot j plus 1, that we provided. After this, what next one here, sysna dot println. We are performing modifications on a3. Are these modifications are applied to the a1 and a2 objects or not, that I need to check now. All right, now for that purpose, what I'm going to do here, a1 dot I plus a1 dot I plus space plus a1 dot j. Another one is what there, system dot out dot println of a2 dot I plus space plus a2 dot j. Then after this, system dot out dot println of a3 dot I plus space a3 dot j. Right, sir. Now this is my total program here, what we are getting clearly. Yes, sir. Line number? Oh, okay. A2 dot I space A2 dot j. That's okay. Program is completed totally. Now through this program, I'm going to show exactly the point, what is instance variable, what is static variable, exact difference we are able to get through this example. Right, sir? Through diagrammatically, I'm going to explain this content here, but more concentration. I think some of you are already aware about this point here, but I can try to understand it clearly. I can say that clearly, instance variables are not shareable, but static variables are shareable. Static variables will provide more shareability, but instance variables are providing less shareability. This is exactly the points here what we are going to focus now, but that we have to understand effectively. All right, sir. Now see this one. I want to take this total program. All right, sir. Now I'll check this one. I'll explain to you first. After that, I will go for the content here. Try to understand this. Let me provide the content here about this. What I am telling to you. Okay, fine. Here I can modify this. Okay. Right, sir. Now the total program is existed. No, try to understand it. Fine. First of all, what is the point here I'm telling to you? Here we are having two types of memories. Actually, five types are available, but here we required only two types of memories. What are the two types of memories? No, method area and heap memory. That's it. All right. Now observe carefully. Now this is what their method area. This is like what their method area. Here. Method area. Now this is like what I'm telling to you, heap memory. Method area and heap memory. See this? First of all, when we execute the first line in our program, already JVM will start program execution from what method? No, main method. Inside this main method, when JVM encounter this instruction, a small a1 is equal to new a constructor. When JVM encounter this instruction, observe carefully. When JVM encounter this very first instruction, a1 is equal to new a. First JVM has to load a class bytecode to the memory or not? Come on, everybody must understand it. First JVM has to load a class bytecode to the memory. Am I right or not? At the time of loading a class bytecode to the memory, JVM must recognize all the static variables. JVM must provide accommodation for static variables inside the method area. As a got or not? First JVM has to load a class bytecode to the memory. At the time of loading a class bytecode to the memory, JVM will recognize static variables of the respective class. JVM will accommodate the static variables inside what there? Inside the method area. So now observe carefully. Which variable is a static variable here? I variable is a static variable. Immediately for I variable, memory will be created inside what there? Method area. This is memory that will be created in method area. That variable name is what there? I variable. Sorry, J variable. J variable will have memory in the method area where the value is what there? 10 is a value here we are getting. What value here we are getting there now? 10. 10 is a value here we are getting. Okay, leave this one. After that, now after loading a class bytecode to the memory, new keyword and constructor both will be executed. By that, an object will be created inside the heap memory for the class A. This is what their object is created for class A. Now whose reference variable is what there at present? No, A1 is the reference variable. A1 is what their reference variable. Okay, it is completed. Now whenever this object is created, all the instance variables data will be stored inside the object only, inside the heap memory only. All the instance variables data will be stored in where there? Inside the heap memory only. Now here, what is that instance variable? No, I is the instance variable and it will have the memory allocation inside the object. Now tell me, from this what conclusion here we got up to know? Static variables will be accommodated inside the method area. Instance variables are accommodated inside what their heap memory in the form of objects. Remember carefully. Okay, now one point here I'm telling to you, even though static variables are allocated inside the method area, but still they are the members of the class A or not. The static variable is a member of the class A or not. So that variable is referred from object again. Variable is referred from object, but its allocation is not inside the object, but its allocation is available to what there in the method area. That variable J is available inside the object, but it is referring to what memory? Method area memory only. This point, if you understand as it is like this, then you will not get any confusion. Otherwise, it will be a confusion one. What is the point? What is the assumption here we have to take? No, J is a variable. It was declared in which class? No, class A. J is a static variable. Even though it is a static variable, even though it has the memory allocation inside the method area, but still it is a member of the class A. So that variable is available inside the A class object, but it's referring not to the same inside the object. It is referring to the method area memory which is allocated for J variable. Now J variable is referring to what? The method area memory only. Remember this one. Okay, this is completed up to now. Now tell me here what next one here. System dot out dot println of a1 dot I space a1 dot j. What values are available now? Tell me at present here. A1 dot I value is what there? A1 dot I value is what there? 10. Sorry, here we are not providing any value here, but 10 is available here actually. Here 10 is existed no. Okay, 10. Next one is a1 dot j value is what there again? 10. Both are what there? 10 and 10 values here we are getting. Am I right or not? Both the values are what there? 10 and 10 here we are getting. Clear? That's okay, fine. Now let's move to the punch here. A1 dot I is equal to A1 dot I plus 1. That means we are incrementing on what variable? I variable value we are incrementing or not? So 10 is incremented by 1. There we are able to get what value here? 11 value. Then what next one here? Now tell me all of you know. A1 dot j is equal to A1 dot j plus 1. J value is also incremented here. The 10 is incremented by 1. There we are getting what value here? No, 11 value. Clear? All of you clear up to now? Up to now we are not having any change in between static variable and what next one here? No, instance variable. Up to now everything is very same. Understand it clearly. Then after this, after completion of this, then what next one here? System dot out dot println of a1 dot I space a1 dot j. A1 dot I space a1 dot j. If we provide this, now tell me a1 dot I value is what now? A1 dot I value is what now? 11. A1 dot j value is what now? Again we are getting what there? 11. Both the values are 11 and 11 are not. Yes, exactly. Both the values are what there? 11 and 11 here we are getting. Okay, good. Up to that it's okay. Up to now we are getting clarity, right? Nothing is the difference between these two now. Now let's move on to the next one here. All of you observe carefully. What is this next one here I'm providing now? A2 is equal to new A constructor. A2 is equal to new A constructor that we provided. That means second object we are trying to create for class K. Whenever we are trying to create second object, as usual, JVM will take the constructor name, that is the class name for which we are creating object. JVM will take the constructor name, that is class name for what class we are creating object. Now JVM has to load A class bytecode to the memory now. Understand my point or not? But before loading A class bytecode to the memory, JVM will check whether A class bytecode is already loaded or not. JVM will check whether A class bytecode is already loaded in the memory or not. If A class bytecode is already loaded, then it will not load again and again the same class bytecode. It will reuse the existed bytecode. If it is not loaded so far, then only JVM will load the respective class bytecode to the memory. All of you observe carefully the point here what I am telling you know. In Java, for a particular class, bytecode will be loaded only one time. In Java, for a particular class, bytecode will be loaded only one time, not more than one time. Of course, we can create 100 objects. Objects maybe we may create any number of objects, but bytecode will be loaded only one time. So now the situation is what? A class bytecode was already loaded at the time of creating first object or not? A class bytecode was already loaded at the time of creating first object or not? So second object creation time, JVM will not load the same A class bytecode to the memory. Directly, it is going to execute the constructor. By the execution of the constructor, automatically second object is going to be created. Understand the meaning? No, JVM is not loading A class bytecode to the memory in the sense JVM is not refreshing the value of the static variable. Why? Because static variable will be recognized and initialized at the time of loading class bytecode only. Now for second object creation, now JVM is not loading a class bytecode, not loading a class bytecode in the sense utilizing existed class bytecode, using the current bytecode which is available in the memory in the sense using the current value of the static variable. Using what value of the static variable? Current value of the static variable. What is the current value of the static variable? Now tell me. 11 is a value, not a 10 is a value. The current value of the static variable is what there? 11, not 10. Observe carefully. So now finally what happened there? Second object is created. When second object is created, their reference variable is available. What is the reference variable? A2 is a reference variable that we are getting. Now this is the reference variable. Inside this A2 object, which variable will have accommodation? Now tell me. I variable will have accommodation as it is an instance variable. Memory will be allocated for I variable inside the object only. Where what is the initial value of I? Now tell me. Initial value of I is what there? 10. Now 10 is a value. Right, here also be the same thing. Even though J variable is a static variable, even though it has the allocation in the method area, but still the J variable is a member of the class K. That's why it is registered with the A2 object, but it is pointing to what object? No, it is pointing to what object? No, what memory there? Method area location only. It is pointing to what location there? Method area location only. Okay, this is a point here. Now tell me, system.out.println of a2.i space a2.j. System.out.println of a2.i space a2.j. a2.i value is what there? 10 now. a2.j value is what there? 11 we are getting. Now understand the deviation now. Now static variables are deviated from instance variable now. Understand my point here? By this what we understood then? Now tell me, the latest value of the static variable is shared to the new object or not? Latest value is what there? 11. The same 11 is available to the A2 referred object or not? But instance variable data is what there? Instance variable is latest value is not shared. Original value is again taken into what there? This is a particular second object. For every object, a separate copy of the instance variable. For every object, for all the object, single copy of the static variable data will be shared. Okay, now let's move on to the next point here. Now here on A2, what we are trying to do there, observe carefully. Say A2.i is equal to A2.i plus 1, A2.j is equal to A2.j plus 1. We are trying to perform modifications on A2 referred object. Now here I value is going to be incremented by 1. There we are able to get what value? Can know 11 value we are getting. Now here A2.j is equal to A2.j plus 1. A2.j value is what there? 11 we are getting. Now we are able to get what value? Can know 12. 12 is a value here we are getting. After that, after performing this modification, now you can observe carefully system.out.println of a1.i space a1.j. Now tell me a1.i value is what? Now a1.i value is what there? 11 we are getting. a1.i value is what there? 11. And a1.j value is what? 12. The 12, how we got that 12? The 12 we got on the base of the A2 reference or not? On A2 object we performed a modification. That's why we got the 12 value. But now the same 12 is available to A1 object or not? By this what we conclude, what we are able to give conclusion? No, latest value of the static variable is shared to the previous objects or not? To the past objects or not? Not only to the future object, its value is shared to the past objects also. 12 is a value will be shared to what there? A1 object directly. Okay, leave this one. Then after this, I want to display like what there? System.out.println of a2.i space a2.j. Tell me what is that a2.i value? A2.i value is what there? 11, and a2.j value is what there? 12 is a value here we are getting. Okay, leave this one. Now tell me all of you once again. Once again, we are trying to create an object or not? Which object here we are trying to create? There again, third object here we are trying to create. While creating this object, first JVM has to load a class bytecode to the memory. But in Java, there is a rule. What is that rule is available there? Before going to create an object for class A, first JVM has to load a class bytecode to the memory. But before going to load a class bytecode to the memory, first JVM must check whether a class bytecode is already loaded or not. If it is already loaded, no need to load again and no need to load again and again same class bytecode to the memory. If it is not loaded, then only we have to load the a class bytecode to the memory. Now what is the situation now? A class bytecode was already loaded or not? A class bytecode was already loaded. If it is loaded already, second time, third time is not required to load the same A class bytecode to the memory. So bytecode loading is skipped. Not loading again that A class bytecode in the sense reusing that existed bytecode or not. Reusing that existed bytecode in the sense use the current value of the static variable or not. What is the current value of the static variable now? 12 but not to 10. Latest value of the static variable is what there? 12 but not to 10. Observe carefully. Okay, this is completed. Now here what happened there? Object will be created. Inside this object, I variable will be accommodated. Now this variable is like what there? I variable. That I variable will be accommodated. Now inside this I variable, what values here we are going to get there? Initial value here we are able to get from the class A. What is that initial value? 10 is a value. After that, there we are able to have a variable. What variable here we are able to have? J variable, but it is a static variable. It must be registered with the A class object, but it must be referring to what there? Method area allocation or method area location only. Now this is its reference variable is what there? A3 reference variable. Automatically now this particular one A3 is referring to the respective object. Now observe carefully inside this system.out.println of A3.I space A3.j. A3.I value is what, sir? Now tell me here up to know A3.I value is what there? We can understand 10 now. A3.j value is what there now? 12 is a value here we are getting. Okay, up to now it's okay. Next we are trying to perform modification. What modification there now? Tell me. A3.I is equal to A3.I plus 1 and A3.j is equal to A3.j plus 1. That means we are performing incrementation over I and j. On I variable, we are trying to modify the data. There we are getting like what value? 11 value. On j variable, we have to increment by 1. So 12 is available at present. The 12 value is incremented by 1. So here we are able to get like what value? You know, 13 is a value. Then after this, what next one here after this? System.out.println of a1.I space a1.j. a1.I value is what there? 11. a1.I value is what there? 11. a1.j value is what there now? 13. Similarly, a1.I value is 11. a1.j value is what there? 13. Similarly, what next one here we are performing here? System.out.println of a2.I space a2.j. a2.I value is what? A2.I value is what? 11. A2.I value is what? 11. A2.j value is what there? 13. Similarly, what next one here? A3.I space A3.j. Now here A3.I value is what? A3.I value is like what there? 11. And A3.j value is what there? 13 value here we are getting. Right, sir. Now from this we are getting some conclusions. No, try to understand these conclusions from this total diagram here. All of you understand it clearly. What conclusions here we are getting? No. Now tell me overall, how many objects we created for class K? 3 objects here we created. That's nice. How many copies of the I variable is created? How many copies of the I variable is created? Variable I am asking the 3 objects we created. Over these 3 objects, how many copies of I variable is created? 3 copies of I variable is created. At each and every object, a separate copy of I variable is available or not? So that I variable is available up to that object only. A1 referred I variable is not applicable to A2 referred object. A2 referred I variable is not related to A3 referred object. Understand my point, Kano? That I variable is applicable up to the respective object only. That is not available to outside of that particular object. But now tell me, how many copies of the J variable is available? Only one copy of the J variable is created, but single copy of the J variable is shared to multiple objects or not? That single copy of the J variable is shared to multiple objects or not? Now tell me here, I variable is an instance variable, J variable is a static variable. Which variable is providing more shareability? Which variable is providing more shareability? I variable or J variable? J variable. J variable is providing more shareability. What is the meaning of it now? Static variable is providing more shareability when compared with what their instance variable. Yes, sir. Got it or not? This is exactly the point here we have to understand from this. Shareability. Static variables will provide more shareability. Instance variables will provide less shareability. This is a conclusion here. We are getting it clearly. From this point, we are able to derive one more point here. What is that point? No. Which data we want to provide common to every object? That data we have to declare as what? Static variable. Which data we want to maintain common data in every object? That data we have to declare as what? There static. Which data we want to provide as a separate data to each and every object, not a common data, separate data. That the data we have to declare it as what there? Instance variable, instance data. Say for example here I'm telling you, you're all students, for example, you're all students, you're learning course at Durgasoft. If I take the class student name, remember carefully what I given there, student name. Next one is what there, student qualification, student address. Okay, now institute name I'm going to provide. In a student class, four variables I have taken. What are the four variables? Student name, student qualification, student address. Next one is what there, institute name. Out of these four variables, which variables we have to declare as a instance variable and which variables we have to declare as a static variable? Now tell me. Student name, student address, student qualifications must be declared as what? Instance variables. Why they must be instance variables? No, they are specific to the student. If we create 10 student objects, no, in all 10 student objects, the data must not be same. The data must be individual to the object, student, a particular student. All of you get my point or not? For example, institute name, if I take, no, that institute name is common for every student of Durgasoft or not? Where institute name variable must be declared as what there? Static variable. Instant variable data must be declared as what there? Static variable. These are the locations where we are going to declare instance variables and static variables. All of you get my point or not? All right, one more point I'm telling to you. Observe carefully. For example, listen, all of you listen carefully. For example, we have some recruitment drive in outside. Some defenses and recruitment drives are going to be happen. Understand it clearly. Government jobs recruitment drives are going on, where user must be participated in that recruitment drive. So class user I'm going to take. So where I'm going to take what there? Username. What I'm going to take? No, username. Next one is what there? After this username, user user mini age, user max age. I'm not taking user age. I'm taking what there? Mini age and max age. See, for example, if you want to go for this defensive side, no, there are some constraints over min age and max age. In the defense that if you want to participate there, your minimum age must be 18, maximum age must be 25 only. I get my point or not? Less than 18, greater than 25, they will not allow. This is a condition. So min age value, max age value is a common for every user or not? Min age value, max age value common for every user or not? That data we have to declare as what there? Static. That data we have to declare as what there? Static. But username is available, user address is available, user email ID is available, user mobile number is available. This email ID, mobile number, all this type of data. This data is what data there? No, come on. This data is must be what there? Instance variables. Understand the clarity? Understand the points here? Where we are going to use static variables, where we are going to use instance variables, that we have to understand clearly. Okay, sir. Just give a minute of time. Now this program here we provided as a second program on the basis of the static keywords, static variables. Try to understand it clearly. This is completed. Output also here we are able to get from this program. What output here we are getting? As it is, whatever the output here we are expecting, the same output here we are getting. And the next one, after this, after completion of this, the diagram, whatever the diagram here I prepared here, the diagram here I want to show, I want to provide in our document. Try to utilize this. Right, sir. Then after this, okay. So then one more small point here I need to show. Now try to understand these points here. Just 2 minutes of time. I'll finish the content here. Last program on the static variable. What I'm trying to show there regarding this accessibility of the static variables, accessibility of the instance variables. How can we access the static variables and instance variables? No, but before that, now tell me, static variables must be declared always at which level? Class level only. Is it possible to declare static variables as a local variables? No. Void m1 method, a variable method I have taken there. Static into k is equal to 30 I have taken. Now we are getting error or not? Red color symbol here we are getting there. This red color symbol is nothing but what there? Error here. No. Illegal modifier for the parameter k. Only final is okay. Leave it now. Here we are getting error here. Observe carefully. This is like what there? Error we are getting. This is 1 point. Okay, fine. Next one is what? I want to access these two variables. A1 is equal to new A. Object here we created. Now here system.out.println of a1.I, that's okay, fine. Sorry, a1.I. Next one is what there? System.out.println of can access class n class name.I. Is it possible to access instance variable by using class name? Not possible here. Error we are able to get. Only static variables are possible to access by using class name. Next one is what there? Then after this, system.out.println of we can use like what there? Small a dot j we can access a1. Okay, fine. A1 dot j we can access no. Next one is what there? System.out.println of class name dot j. Possible or not possible? As static variables we can access by using class name and as well as what there? A reference variable. Both we can do there. Now we are getting output clearly. Leave this one. Then after this, after completion of this, current class static variable we can access by using this keyword also. System.out.println of this dot j. As it is possible. This dot I, this dot j. Both are possible here. We can access it. Next one is what? After this, now understand the next one here. A2 is equal to null. A2 is equal to what there? Null. Null is a value we are getting. System.out.println of A2 dot j. J variable is what variable? J variable is what variable? Static variable. Are you getting any exception here? If it is a case, no? No exception we are getting. 10 is an output we are getting. But observe carefully. System.out.println of A2 dot I variable I provided. A2 dot I. Tell me what we are going to get now. Definitely here we are able to get an exception. What is that exception here we are getting there? Understand it now? Java dot lang dot null pointer exception cannot read field I because A2 is what? Null. Right, sir. Now here we are getting like what there? An exception. Null pointer exception here we are getting. Java dot lang dot null pointer exception. Right, sir. Now these are the various points here we have to understand. This is third example. On the base of the points here what we discussed here, the third example also here we provided. Try to recognize this. Outputs also here I'm providing to you. Now let me execute this once again. That almost 4 times we are getting that output is like what the 10 that we have to understand it. So okay. Right, so by this the total static variables concept is completed. What I thought, what I required for the advanced Java. To start advanced Java, the static variables part here we completed. Next one is what there? Static methods. Right, sir. Static methods. Shall we discuss this topic on tomorrow? Right, sir. Tomorrow, Max I will complete static methods and static blocks. Simply, easily we are able to complete it. After that, I will start the next prerequisite topic. What concepts are required here that I'm going to discuss within the next in the order what I have given there. In the same order we are going to understand. Clear? One small announcement, guys. And today at 3 o'clock there is a new full stack Java batch. Understand it now. Those are already started with the full stack Java. Again, if you want to attend, you can attend for it. I don't have any problem. But in place of you have to refer your friends also. Second point is important. Remember it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We'll meet on tomorrow. Yeah. Guys, videos access will be provided to you within 1 or 2 days of time. Why? Because for all members at a time, a single day not possible to provide. Videos will be provided to you maybe just within 1 or 2 days of time. We will get it. Meanwhile, if you want to check these videos, no, they are available on YouTube also. Just try to check one time here. But maybe then day by day, 50 members videos will be provided to you, so that you are able to get it. Don't worry. Okay. Right. Thank you.